I can't recall them right now per se, but I know that the most exciting unit that I'm gonna take a lead on is actually dystopian novels. So I'm planning on teaching, oh God, Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World. Now that's gonna be a very difficult novel, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, the patience test today. So I went grocery shopping with a co-teacher. I was really happy to go with her. Anytime I go anywhere, it's kind of nicer to go with somebody because if something happens, you always have someone, even if they're there, just to kind of go through the experience with you. But anyway, we went grocery shopping. Everything was fine. I filled up my cart. I knew it was going to be a heavy trip back, but I figured I had what it took to get back. But little did I know how ill prepared I was. So the girl and we ended up splitting ways. She ended up grabbing dinner with some other people. She had very little stuff. I had a lot more stuff. I had a big bag of rice, like a kilogram or two, I don't know, huge bag of rice. And some other things, bottles, glass bottles, big water jugs. And I stood outside the grocery store for 30 minutes waiting for a cab. I had 6 cab drivers stop and talk to me, and I showed them the address, and every single one of them shook their heads and said, no. And they kept driving. I don't know why. I didn't know why. And then after I exhausted those options, a girl did bump into me. She knew English, and she was helping me out, and she kind of transcribed the address. The address I was given was apparently incorrect, but that happens. So she got the address, and then when I showed that to the cab drivers, another 2 cab drivers turned me down. A third one finally stopped, and so I was about 9 cab drivers. So I was very frustrated. I was very frustrated because, you know, obviously back home, when you want an Uber, I'm from London, I know the area really well. Even if I couldn't find it on the map, I could tell them where to go if it was a cab. If it was an Uber, well, Google, it's all in English, it's easy, right? But in this case, it's not the case. Clearly, I had the wrong address, and nobody wanted to stop. So I called my principal because he was kind of my last line of defense. He was able to step up and confirm my address was correct. And then around that time, I had a driver pick me up. So yeah, reflecting on that's kind of what happened though. I think it enables me to appreciate knowing a language. It enables me to appreciate knowing where I am. And also, in terms of what I can do moving forward, it enables me to be better prepared. So I did not have the proper Chinese address. Therefore, when I was showing them the English version or the other version, which I thought were translations, they all just shook their heads. So I did something wrong. I don't know exactly what I did wrong, but what I can tell you for sure is that I didn't have the correct Chinese address. So that I know I could have done differently. So being prepared, I think, was the most important thing because I'm not going to know Mandarin. I'm not going to know the area. I'm going to use the tools that I have at my disposal. But yeah, so I think the key lesson today was about being prepared, which I was not. But you know, the other thing was I tried to practice was deep breathing and meditation while I was getting frustrated. I was definitely getting frustrated. I was definitely swearing. You know, taking for granted these things that you have grown in, like I've grown in an environment where I've known English, I've known the area, I've known all these things, taking that for granted. And also me learning that I really need to learn Mandarin as soon as possible. And of course, like I said, being prepared. So those are key things that I learned today. You know, on the bright side, I got all my groceries. I have some groceries which are going to last me probably a year because like a bag of rice is massive. I was also very hungry, so that made it more challenging too. But you know what? I needed that test. I came to China to be tested. I came to China to be challenged. And you know, I didn't expect to be challenged in such a mundane way, but I was, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy that my principal helped me out. I'm happy that my coworker went shopping with me. I'm happy that I have my groceries. Oh, and the kicker, when I went to the gate to pick my groceries, I had to take 2 trips. And a gentleman at the gate like heard me say in Mandarin, because I use a translator, you know, I need to take 2 trips. And then the security guard is like, yeah. But then this guy comes out of nowhere, and then he's like, and he just offers to help. So he grabs my groceries and he walks with me. It was about 150-meter walk, which it doesn't sound too long, but I had a lot of groceries, and without him, I would not have made the trip. So he ended up helping me out. He ended up carrying my groceries with me, and he wasn't going to take anything for it, but I refused. I gave him a few RMB, which is really the equivalent to not even a dollar in Canada, but it was about the equivalent to get him like a small meal. So showing gratitude was something I did for the cab driver who did pick me up. I gave him an extra tip, which Chinese don't accept tips normally, but I kind of encouraged it and I insisted upon it. The second gentleman who helped me with, like without even me asking, like again, my culture says, hey, if you do something like that, I'll give you a tip. That's how I am. So I'm very grateful for all the support. It's such a small act going to the grocery store, which can turn into such a thing. But again, I needed to be challenged, and here I am, and I'm being challenged. So be careful what you ask for. But I'm very grateful. And now I'm going to shower, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to probably relax for the rest of the night and go to bed. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. If you're still here, you made it this far. I basically just rambled about a grocery trip, but I think these moments are important to learn on, and that's why I'm an educator, because I reflect, I assess, I evaluate, and then I think about how I can do things differently next time. So thank you for listening if you're still here, and we'll talk to you soon.